Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series. Hello, Ari. How are you?
Fine.
It's very cold here. It's like 27 degrees.
It is not that cold here, but it is very windy and chilly.
I saw someone
California.
on Twitter say that it was like stepping out into a windstorm today a little bit.
Yeah, it's very blustery. Like when I was driving on the highway, there was a moment where I was like, whoa, because the wind like.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to keep them, what was it? 3 and 9?
10 and 2. 9 and 3. 9 and 3.
9 and 3. 9 and 3.
Do I look like Aunt Marge?
It's just because you have that type of sweater on.
I know,
specifically.
the like Calvic. Yeah.
That's so funny. That's gonna become my contact photo. Oh my god. Oh, great.
We
great
don't
times.
talk about neck fat. No.
Well, everyone's neck looks like that when they do that.
Yeah. Ari, this week we read chapter 4 called Back to the Burrow. What happened
telling
in the
me?
chapter?
Who are you telling?
I'm telling everyone.
You know, in this chapter, the Weasleys pull a B&E on the Dursleys' home.
True. Breaking and entering.
Breaking
both.
and entering. Yep. They're breaking and entering.
I'm going to go out on a limb. It is inappropriate to add someone's home to the floo network if they are not informed that they're being added to the floo network.
I feel like we have talked about this before, that it's like, how can you do that? Is that even allowed?
We just found out in this chapter that apparently it is.
Apparently
in some
it
capacity.
is. This is literally my first question is just, so did he like just pull some strings at work? Did that? No one even, he was like, I want to add this fireplace. And they were like, okay, cool. There has to be some type of policy. Was he just like, this is Harry Potter's Muggle family's fireplace? And they were like, oh, well, if it's Harry Potter, we'll just make it happen right away. And then later there were some stipulations added down the line. I don't understand
because all we find out is that he has a contact in the floo regulation panel. Which no.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to quote Ari. No. No.
You know that like Joe was like, proud of that one.
Now, is Arthur Weasley a clown because 2 books ago he was like under investigation for like misuse of Muggle artifacts, the like thing he runs,
right?
And now he's like, you know what I should do? I should add a Muggle home to the floo network.
But this is what I'm saying. Is it not even a big deal? Like, was this something like this time in the wizarding world, in the time of book 4?
Sure,
that was a normal thing to ask for, but then like when we move down into this is why it's confusing. I don't know.
The only thing we know is that in the chapter he alludes to the fact that you're not supposed to add Muggle fireplaces to the floo network. But we did it. But why not?
Because of his connect. He was able to do that because of his connect.
Yeah. Workarounds. It's all about who you know. Networking.
I guess so. He's a fully qualified wizard after all, Arthur Weasley, so he can pull some strings. Well, let's just get right into it. We'll just dive right in. So I love that it starts off with like, it sounds like Harry, like one of those days where you wake up at like 7 a.m. and you just like immediately like get up and like start packing so that like you're all fully packed and you're just sitting on your bed like,
be the day we were flying out to go to LA for the concert.
For the BTS concert.
I woke up and I was like,
yeah.
Good morning, RJ.
That was me when our alarm went off to go to the merch line.
It literally was like, line.
Beep, beep. Immediately ready. Just like, good morning.
Good morning.
Anyway, so Harry is like fully ready to go back to the Burrow, as the chapter says. Mm-hmm. Which were you a little disappointed that like it was called Back to the Burrow, but we didn't even get
to the Burrow?
Bit of the Burrow?
No. I was like, a chapter Back to the Burrow, and it's about the heady. It's about almost. It's how about almost back to the Burrow? How about on my way back to the Burrow? Wasn't this shorter too? This chapter was a little bit shorter. I don't know. I never know because my book is so big and there's so many illustrations. True. I can't tell if chapters are short or long. It felt like I got through it quickly. I don't have that many notes. Okay, it starts on page 39 and it ends on page 50. That is 11 pages, Ari, just so you know. I did that quick math for you. Thank you. Yeah, I was not even going to try. But because when I'm looking at it, like flipping through the pages, I was like, yeah, that was very short. That was very quick. Yeah. So yeah, Harry basically is up and at 'em, ready to go. Up and at 'em. Up in this guy. Not in that way, though, listeners. We're not implying anything. Who's got 2 thumbs and is up? Stupid. Hate myself. You are in rare form today, and I think it's really funny. Because I haven't had anyone to do bits for in over 24 hours. You are turned on today. Yeah. Plus, I was at work today and nobody came in, so I was like... Oh, you were like... Oh my God. Yes, I feel that from you. I feel that. So Harry is ready to go up and at 'em. And it's funny that like Harry is like super excited and jazzed and he goes downstairs and is just met with like the Dursleys like being so on edge. Like the polar opposite. Yeah. It's like paranoia. Like if the silverware clinks too loud, everyone's like... Just like the biggest flared nostrils you've ever seen in your life. And then it's so funny that the first thing I think that Vernon says is like, I hope you told them to dress properly. I'm just like... Which like, is weird to be fair, when we get into this book and that there's like the one wizard wearing like the nightgown, sure. Right. But it's I don't know who you're talking about, to be quite honest. Okay. Wait, yes I do, when we go to the Quidditch World Cup. I know what you're talking about. But I'm like, what is Harry... Okay. Harry's going to be like, thanks for coming and getting me. And also, please wear Muggle clothes. Yeah. You didn't even let him respond to the letter. You have no idea what like his owl is doing. So like, how would Harry have corresponded with them, Vernon? Whatever. I do like when she's like, they were very shocked to hear that they are coming this very day or something like that. Like they didn't know originally that it was like, we're picking you up tomorrow. So like when he told them like, I think it was like he told them they were coming the very next day. They were like, oh yeah. Uncle Vernon had looked downright alarmed when Harry informed him that the Weasleys would be arriving at 5:00 the very next day. Yeah. How dare they? The nerve. I will say when he discusses I had the note about she describes the Weasleys' robes as being shabby. Not this again. These are buzzwords for her. These are buzzwords. No. What was the this was one of my favorite when you just went off tangents? On one of your favorite tangents where you were like anti-chic robes. I just wanted to note
threadbare robes.
See
Any
book 3
synonym
for that one.
Yeah. So basically the Dursleys are like in their Sunday best, ready to like, as Harry said, Vernon wants to intimidate them. Petunia is making sure that everything is spotless while like glaring at Harry from the corner. And then Dudley is the complete opposite. And he's like waddling around holding onto his ass, which is really funny because Dudley is like a very, very tall 14-year-old. We're supposed to believe that he's the size of a killer whale, apparently.
The size of a baby killer whale. Yeah.
Yeah.
323 pounds, I believe, is what we found out last episode.
So he's walking around waddling, holding his bottom because he's very afraid of getting a little piggy tail, as we remember, which like, so he went to a private hospital to get it removed.
Yeah. This isn't National Healthcare Service money. This is like private Vernon Dursley selling drill money.
Because he didn't want it
They went
to
out
get
of network for this, yeah. They said this can't be on our tax records.
I want a little episodic adventure of the nurse who accepted Dudley into
That's what I'm saying.
Hospital for the tail.
I want those. And when this happens, when they end up well, no, I guess technically it gets resolved by Arthur Weasley, but
we think Arthur does it. Okay, yeah. I can't remember. I didn't read ahead for the next chapter, so I don't know if he does indeed resolve the tongue situation or not. I can't remember. God. I would assume he does though too.
Well, because he's holding onto his ass because as Joe writes, the last time he had had a dealing with a fully grown wizard.
Again, the fully grown. Okay, so Hagrid, fully grown wizard. Arthur Weasley, fully grown wizard. Dumbledore, local kook. Like it's just
local.
Not...
Yeah. Local nut.
I'm like, what? Okay. I also would really like to point out lunch was an almost silent meal. Dudley didn't even protest at the food. Cottage cheese.
Say it.
Cottage cheese and grated celery. Is this a thing? Grated celery. Like a cheese grater? I have never seen celery grated.
Like hash browns, but it's celery?
I only like celery when it's like either dipped in peanut butter or like dipped in hummus, like something that disguises the celery. Ants on a log, yeah. Something that disguises the celery. Because the celery is the part I don't like.
Taste. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's the texture then that I don't like. It's just not what. No, I don't like it. I'm not into it. And so
it's like iceberg lettuce, where you're just like,
sure,
this is solid water.
But it's like stringy and like you have to like
that's
chomp
weird.
It. Yeah. So
great with peanut butter.
Also, they talk about how Aunt Petunia is chewing her tongue.
Mm-hmm. Multiple times in this chapter, it is referenced.
Like sometimes I have a really bad habit. My mom does it too, of chewing on the inside of my lip, like this.
Yeah, where you like suck it in, kind of. I don't know what chewing one's tongue is. I don't know if I ever pictured it. I guess I'm watching myself now. I guess if I was doing it.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever really seen someone do that.
I'm just like.
Great. This is great. I'm so glad we're on YouTube as well now.
Thank God. Moments. This would be lost to the ether.
No. So yeah, Petunia's chewing on her tongue, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Vernon's like, they'll be driving.
It's a treat to be chewing on it. No, sorry,
what is that?
What a dance do they do? Lordy, how I'm telling you. They don't need no band. They keep time by clapping their hands. This is 7th grade. Or 8th grade?
Sixth grade. We had jazz?
No.
Oh.
It was definitely with Miss Wilson. So it had to be 7th or 8th grade. It wasn't with Mr. Boucher.
I was like, we has jazz in 6th grade.
It's a treat to beat your feet on the Mississippi mud.
Oh, it's a treat to beat your feet on the Mississippi mud.
Because they talk about how chewing on a cud. That was where I was going with the joke. You have to be really in the weeds to get that one. And by weeds, I mean our childhood specifically.
I mean, just me and Adam. I don't even remember the lyrics of the song, so just Adam. All I remember is it's a treat to beat your feet on the Mississippi mud. I do remember that part. So after Petunia's chewing on her tongue, Vernon's like, they're going to be driving, right? And Harry's like, good question. Which, like, to be fair, I don't know if I would have thought about that either. Because they did have a car at one point, and he does make he does point out that Friedrich.
Can you not?
Friedrich. We need to Friedrich. Oh.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
How is he doing since RJ's
Lay
gone?
down. He's fine.
That didn't, just so you know, when you turned off your mic, it didn't change anything at all.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
You could hear me the whole time?
Yes. Oh, no. Has your mic not been plugged in this whole time? Oh, no. Mm-hmm. So in a weird way, that does kind of seem like the obvious choice to drive a car.
Now, I love that they come by flute powder.
Me too.
I also would have been absolutely gagged if she had just given us a brand new form of transportation that we had never heard of before in this moment.
Introduce Thestrals now, Joe.
Could you imagine? Or like she had done the toilets now, so they show up and they're like coming out of the toilet. Hello! Hello! And Dudley comes out like screaming, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't think this was occupied. Sorry, Cleveland." What if they? Okay, here's a question. I'll ask it to the empty room. What if they didn't have a fireplace?
Well, he wouldn't have been able to connect to their home. Is this
the Santa Claus situation where he can go down like the steam pipe of the house?
Yeah,
if we're all familiar with that Tim Allen classic.
I always asked that question growing up because we did not have a fireplace.
Neither did we.
In that house. So I was like, how does he get in here? And I think they just said like, oh, he finds other ways to get in. They never answered the question.
No. What are you going to No. I am not one who's going to create mythology around Santa Claus.
So basically, when he's talking about, are they going to arrive in a car? He's like, I think, yeah. And then Vernon just snorts. It's just like, okay. So then Harry's just like basically pacing around being like, okay, they're going to get here later today. He's like one of those things where you just like, you can't sit down. You're not hungry. Like you're just trying to make the time go by as fast as possible, but it's like dragging by. Mm-hmm. So, and then Aunt Petunia is like looking out the windows. Like, have you ever done that? Do you ever do that? If like you see something weird, like you just like peek out the window. Just like one little eyeball.
I live on the 17th floor of a building, so no,
you're right. You don't do that.
No, like just kidding. We sit right across from the other side. Like we're two buildings connected on the bottom. We're like two towers.
Oh yeah, you can see in other people's
I'll fully
windows.
just like stare out the window and be like, "What are they watching on TV?
Are they looking at me? Are they looking back at me?"
I watched half an episode of Emily in Paris one time through someone else's TV in their living room.
Was it the Dynamite episode?
It was not the Dynamite episode.
Oh, okay. Uncle Vernon is pretending to read the paper, but his eyes are not moving.
Love that detail.
And then Dudley is smushed in an arm. Dudley is smushed in an armchair. I don't remember what Aunt Petunia was compulsively straightening cushions. That's what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because women, we just love to clean. We just have to clean things when we're nervous. That's what we do. You know, it's just in our blood.
I believe that for Petunia.
Well, for Petunia, yes. But I was like,
that
of
is
course.
her life experience for sure.
For sure.
Well, she's filling the happy homemaker role.
Right.
That's like her goal in life is to be like that woman in the advertisement.
She was told to marry wealth, like marry rich. She was told. That's
really?
I think what she was. I think so.
Oh,
Petunia.
I was like, is that also in the like additional writings that Joe has written?
Well, I guess.
Probably.
Well, no, probably because we have discussed that like James Potter was probably a trust fund baby, so probably both Lily and Petunia were probably told to marry rich. They were just like, find a wealthy man to take care of you. Which, okay, this is a little bit of a tangent, but that whole gold digger narrative that people have created about women is in itself sexist because it's like you literally created a structure where the only way a woman could have a happy life was to marry someone that was wealthy. She still didn't have any control over like anything in her life, but because she was marrying someone wealthy, that made her parents or her family feel, you know, like she was going to someone that was going to take better care of her because they financially could.
Well,
but then that like it turns around on the woman to be like, oh, well, she's a gold digger. But it's like, you know that gold diggers even were a thing because women had no other choice because of the fucking patriarchy. So that it always makes me so annoyed when people say that because I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, great. She's a gold digger. But like, do you know why certain women were taught that way?
Well, but also historically, like men were the gold diggers originally because the women's family had the dowry.
Right. The dowry that they would get from the bride.
Right.
Because, of course, the woman can't be responsible for the money. It's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
I like actually just got mad like thinking about that. I'm so annoyed. Anyway.
I give history a F minus.
So basically, they're all acting like they're doing something, waiting for the Weasleys to get there. Harry like just can't deal. It's like the tension is too high. So he like he leaves the room and then he goes and sits on the stairs. Such a kid thing to do, to like sit on the stairwell. How many scenes in films have we seen? Like the kids go and they just sit on the stairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Vernon's like, they're late, which like, yeah. What is Harry gonna do? It's just, that was such a weird thing for me. He's like, I'm mad at you because they're late. I'm like, he's sitting right here. He knows as much as you do.
Yeah. And of course the Weasleys are late.
Yeah, of course
the
they are.
The Weasleys give big late energy.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Can you imagine trying to get that many kids ready to go anywhere?
I do not understand why he had to bring 3 of his children along.
Yeah, why did Fred and George come?
That makes no sense.
Out of any of the children, why did Fred and George come?
Literally, it should have just been Molly and Arthur, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Ron didn't need to come.
Ron didn't need to come.
Maybe Ron because he's Harry's actual best friend, but like he didn't need to come.
Okay, the reason you come as a kid, if you're like picking your friend up, is because there's a drive involved. So you want to see them as soon as possible. If you're traveling instantaneously via floo powder, what are we doing?
It's fine. So he's like, also, they're late. What's going on? And Harry's like, maybe there was traffic. And then Vernon's kind of like, well, they probably just don't care. And they're fuddy-duddies and whatever else. And then
I love when Petunia's like, they're probably trying to be late enough so that we'll ask them to have dinner.
Oh, thank you. Is that a real thing? That's a real thing people think? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say something like that.
Okay, Petunia is a character on The Real Housewives of little whinging.
Little whinging?
That's what she is. And I would say that those types of people would be like, oh, I'm forced to like, it's 6:00, so I have to say, would you like to stay for dinner? I would never do that.
No, I'd be like, okay, nice to see you.
Thanks for coming by.
Sorry to push you out, but
well, I'll let you let me go.
Or I'd be like, do you want to go get something? Are you hungry? Do you want to go get something?
Yeah.
So that was, yes.
Getting late out there, huh?
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. That was a interesting moment from Petunia. I was like, oh, that's really something. I would never have thought that. Either that or they drive some tin pot car that's broken. Darg. That's how it's written. And then Harry jumps up, and as he jumps up to come into the living room, Dudley leaves. And then as Harry comes in, he sees or hears basically that like someone is stuck in the fireplace, which like, I really like this moment a lot. I just think it's really funny. I wish it would have been in the film.
I forgot that there is the fake fireplace in the real fireplace. I forgot that that's a part of it.
Yeah, they have
and so
it. Like
I was like,
the real
God, this
fireplace
is so
boarded
funny.
up.
Yeah.
I don't really know what an electrical fire looks like. Is it just like the little square thing that you just like push? You like fit it into the.
Yes. Okay. In my house in high school, we had that like fireplace. We had like the mantle, but that was like a gas, not real fireplace. Like that was just like it was a remote. You just clicked it on.
Oh, okay.
We never used it.
But if it was gas, it was like attached. Yours was attached into the wall, right? Not just like, okay.
I love that theirs is electrical. So it's a space heater. Say that.
Yeah.
And also that they were like, we have an actual fireplace, a literal fireplace, and we are going to instead
put an electric. Yeah.
I think it's very Dursley. It is very Dursley.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it'll just always look perfect. The electrical fireplace.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You won't ever have to worry about getting wood. Having a chimney sweep come. None of that. We don't need to worry about that.
No mess. No fuss.
It's one of those ones she describes that it's one of the coal ones where it's not even like there's not even fire. It's just like there's like coal and they just turn red. Have you ever seen these?
Yes.
Yeah. They're
someone we knew in high school had one of those. If yours was gas, it wouldn't have been yours. But I remember that where it's like the coals just like light up.
Yeah.
The faux coals or whatever. So Mr. Weasley pops into the fireplace. How big is this fireplace? There are 4 of them in there at one point.
I couldn't tell you.
Mr. Weasley, then Fred, then George.
And then Arthur and then Ron, right?
No. Arthur's the first one, then Fred, then George, and then Ron comes last. Which it's so funny that they're like having a full-on conversation in the fireplace. And then they're all just it's like someone talking in the wall, and you're just like on the other end of the wall being like,
what if they got in the wrong house?
They very well could have. I don't know how he figured out what house, like what fireplace to it. I don't know we have no idea what the protocol is.
I mean, I guess that they knew. What if there's a house with multiple fireplaces?
Have I been to
I have a lot of questions for Jo. Do you think she's going to answer them? I hope not. I actually hope she doesn't.
I wouldn't count on it. So basically they're all like shouting at each other, and then where is it? When they're like, maybe Harry can hear us, Dad. Maybe he'll be able to let us out. And then there was a loud hammering of fists on the boards behind the electric fire. It would have been so good to see this in the movie. It would have been so funny. And then the Dursleys like round on Harry and they're like, what is going on? I'm like, he is literally standing here same as you. Like, it's the fact that they're like, you 14-year-old boy, what is happening here? Like, I just feel so bad for Harry. Like, he doesn't know. So then he's like, well, there's this thing called floo powder, and they must have come here by floo powder, but the fireplace is blocked up so they can't get through. And then Harry talks to them and he's like, oh, they've got an electric fire, which Mr. Weasley's like, Amazing.
Eclectic.
Eclectic, you say? And then that's when, basically right after that is when Ron comes in. And there's this really great moment, I think, where George is like, no, we're having the time of our lives. That's exactly what we wanted to do. But he's like, his face is like mushed into the wall. Yeah. So in the audiobook, the guy's like, no, we're having the time of our lives. Like, does it like with his face mushed.
That's great.
I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then he's like, yeah. And then Mr. Weasley's like, yeah, I'm just going to have to bust open this fireplace, which like, I don't care because I don't care because it's the Dursleys, but like,
right.
You knew that was not going to go well, Arthur. Come on.
You, sir, this is what makes no sense to begin with. This is a man that can apparate.
Right? Why didn't he apparate?
What are we doing?
This is
what
before
are we doing?
She hasn't really even like introduced apparating, I don't think. Have we seen someone that's done that yet? Like, I'm trying to think.
I don't think so, but I think it's been like referenced.
Because there was one point,
I don't think we've seen anyone do it.
Because there was one point where Ron was like, I think it's Ron or someone was talking about like, oh, they'll like some wizards can just like apparate, and how it's seen as like this huge thing. But then like by the end of the series, everyone can do it.
Yeah.
So
you have to do it in order to like graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the SAT, the wizarding SAT.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just, I don't understand. It's weird. I don't know why Arthur could have just apparated.
Arthur's not a problem solver.
He's a fully qualified wizard, Adam.
He's a fully qualified wizard. What are you
trying to say?
He's not a problem solver. This is why he's stuck he's not even the manager of the Muggle Artifact Office. He just works in it.
Arthur busts open the fireplace. There's like soot and debris everywhere over the like pristine living room, which like, I was like, oh my God. Like as a kid, I remember being like, ah, ha, ha, ha. But like now as an adult, I was like, oh,
especially because like any person who owns a home knows that if you're like trying to clean up, it takes so much time. Not that I'm sure it did not actually take Petunia a bunch of time to get ready because she constantly cleans. But I would still be so annoyed.
Just seeing the mess is like, but Arthur, I'm sure he cleaned it up really quickly with whatever he did. But it's like, if he knows as much about Muggles as he says he knows, I would imagine he knows that's going to upset them. So it's a very like awkward moment of like, they're obviously scared of Arthur because he's a wizard and because he has a wand, but then he literally just did a B&E and ruined their sitting room.
He had to like bombard her. Like he had to like explode their house.
What spell did he use?
You can't transfigure that into transfigure it to be smaller. You have no other skills at your service, sir, than bombarda.
He doesn't say anything.
When she introduces the twins, she makes a note that they are identical down to their freckles. I did look this up. Twins.
You did? Yeah. I was wondering.
They do not have the same freckles. And I also found out.
Not.
Yeah, because it's like moles. It just depends on how much you're in the sun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also found out twins do not have the same fingerprints, which I don't think I knew.
Oh, neither type of twin.
Yeah.
Identical or fraternal.
Yeah. Like the cells are the same, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to develop once you've split the egg. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Literally before he leaves, he does say, I'll light a fire to send the boys back, and then I can repair your fireplace before I disapparate.
Why can't you at least clean the room right now?
But why didn't you
everyone would feel better. Hello?
Why didn't you just apparate in the first place, Arthur? Hello. They wanted to see Dudley, which that moment is really funny to me, by the way. When he's like, hello, Dudley, having a good holiday? Like, just like so like gently.
Yeah.
Hello, hi. How are you? You okay? Yeah. And but Fred and George coming, I was like, Arthur. I don't know why it was so funny to me too when Harry was just like, yep, that's Dudley.
Yeah.
Yep. Maybe it was because I could picture him and Ron being like, but it was just so funny to me. Incendio. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying. Okay, so he says incendio. Why would he not? This is where I'm like, Joe, you're not, I'm seeing the cracks.
I have questions immediately. There is now officially, with both the most likely Bombarda, we don't know for sure, but definitely incendio.
We're going to go with.
We're going to go with it. We have now performed 2 spells in the home in which Harry received a letter for someone else doing spells in this house.
There you go.
You're right. What's going on?
Is there did someone make a note that Arthur was going to be there that day? So could Harry have just been doing spells all day?
Is that how it works?
I don't know. That's the only.
None of this makes sense.
I'm throwing anything at the wall and seeing
because they also know in book 3 that he performs the engorgement charm essentially on Aunt Marge. He just doesn't get in trouble for it.
Oh, right. Accidentally. Yeah.
Right.
It's a gray area.
It's definitely gray
area.
The ministry is falling apart.
So they start heading back. Fred and George. No, let me be clear because they're 2 different people. So I want to make sure I mention the right twin. Fred drops some of the, what is it? Tongue tied toffee or something like that.
10-ton toffee?
10-ton toffee? I don't know. The toffees. The magical toffees that he has. He purposefully.
I think we find out in the next chapter what they're called.
Yeah, literally right away. He lets them slip out of his pocket and is like, "Oh, oops! Oh, my mistake! Oh, yeah." And bend and snap.
Not all these delicious candies on the ground. Yeah. My God, I hope I've collected all of them.
And then he gives a very jolly wave and just saunters into the fire, which Petunia's like,
I mean, listen, I'm on Petunia's side. I would lose my mind.
I would do the same thing. I would literally be like, I'd be like, what? Hold on. Your child just walked into the fire.
It would be curtains for me. I'll say that.
It's curtains. He called me curtain. And then there's after Fred, George, and Ron go back, it's just Harry and Mr. Weasley. And Harry very quickly is like, bye. And then there's this moment which really makes me love Mr. Weasley, where he's
I think this moment's great.
Yeah. He was like, he just said bye to you. And Harry's like, it's okay.
It's very you energy.
Me?
Yes.
Because I would be like.
Yeah, yes, you would.
Yeah.
I would be like, well, I guess they didn't say bye to you. I think it's fucking rude.
Exactly. Exactly. But the fact that he's like, he said goodbye to you. You're not going to see him until next summer. And it's exactly what you would do at this age as a kid. You would be like, it's okay. I know it's fine. It doesn't matter. Because it's like, yeah, because you're
this
just like,
age,
no.
And also this relationship with these people, I'd be like,
yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah. It's fine. So then he's like, you're not gonna say bye to him? And then is it Vernon that's just like, bye. What does he say? Goodbye then. Yeah. Goodbye then. And then he's like, see ya. And Harry leaves. And then, yeah, bye. Annyeong. And then Aunt Petunia screams because Dudley is basically retching because he ate a taffy that has now made his tongue swell up. And I think when Harry sees it, it's a foot long. And Petunia starts trying to pull it out of his mouth.
That's great.
I was like, oh my, I was like, how did this not make it in the film? This is amazing.
It's great. In Petunia's defense, there's no way she could actually think that this is his real tongue. Like, she probably is like,
oh, absolutely.
It's something that's like blocking his
put
airway.
In his mouth or something. Yeah.
Not his actual literal
But the image of like Dudley being on the floor, like being like, and then Petunia being like, like over and then Arthur trying to help, all while Vernon is like throwing things at Arthur, is just like, oh my God.
It's so good. Wait,
it's do you know a good image?
Do you know what a licky tongue is from Pokemon?
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I think of when
yes.
That's what I think of. I'm going to put a picture of one in right here.
Licky tongue. Michael would remember what sound a licky tongue makes. I can't remember. Michael, do you remember what sound a licky tongue makes?
Michael? I want you to know this didn't block any sound. Michael? Michael.
It's just, anyway, it's such a good image. The image of her like Petunia over Dudley. Giant Dudley.
It's the like full it's the like when like plays do this, like farces, when just like everything starts going wrong, like
yes,
and everything is happening all at once and you don't know where to look. It's very that. It's great. It's
very a comedy of errors. There's just like so many things going on and it's so funny. And also just the way that like Petunia is like this like tiny, she always describes her as horse-faced.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, how do you think horse-face? I always think of like horse teeth.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, okay. I would imagine Petunia is not as beautiful as Sarah Jessica Parker.
The term horse-faced is listed in the dictionary as being first recorded between 1665 and 1675 and meaning having a large face with lantern jaws and large teeth.
Lantern jaws.
I don't know what that means. I'm not going to look it up. I'm already too far in.
What a description. What a description. So that the ending image right before Harry leaps into the flames is just, I love it. It's legendary. I wish it was in the film. If they do make this HBO series as rumored,
put it in,
as they are rumored to be making, it's got to make the cut. I mean,
yeah,
give the people what they want.
Yeah. I'll tell the director of whoever is directing this episode the same thing I told. Never mind. This took too long. Keep going.
Okay.
The joke was put it in.
Yeah. So Arthur's trying to help them. Vernon is throwing stuff at him, and Aunt Petunia is beside herself on top of Dudley, who has essentially been described as Andre the Giant. She's like over. Small Petunia is like laying over like Andre the Giant, essentially, as he has like a giant, now the size of a python, tongue coming out of his mouth that she's yanking on. And that's it. That's the end of the chapter. That's where it ends.
And then I guess we go to the Burrow. That's my guess.
We better go to the Burrow next.
Because this is technically...
Back to the Burrow.
This is technically his second time accurately using floo powder. Is that right?
Yeah, she should have been back in the floo.
Because I'm assuming in book 2, he fucks up when he goes to Diagon Alley, but he gets it right when they go back, right? Or do they stay in Diagon Alley? We don't
even hear. Excuse me. We don't even hear. They don't like tell us what happens afterward. I don't think it was book 2, so it was
book 2.
It's been a while, but
yeah, and that was a bad book. So
we've all blocked that one out.
We blocked it out.
I feel so. Someone probably loves Chamber of Secrets and is like, "Hey."
Well, that someone can write a 5-star review of this podcast and let us know. Well, that wraps up this chapter. Next week, we'll be reading chapter 4 called Weasley's Wizard Wheezes.
Amazing.
She loves alliteration, this woman.
She loves it.
You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts. And as always, please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score. 5 stars only, or else your tongue will grow to be the size of a python.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at HBAnxious, Instagram at HBAnxious, and YouTube at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Anchor and recorded on Zencaster, so thank you to the both of them. And we are a proud, #proud member of The Ampliverse.
#proud.
Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you, Adamana.
And as always... Nox. Bombarda! Imperio. No. Incendio.
Bombarda!
Imperio. I just unforgivable cursed you at the end of this episode. Nailed it.